While the move has been widely hailed, one SAARC member has failed to rise above pettiness. Pakistan has decided to use the meet as an opportunity to try to belittle India. Now this, as Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has become the only SAARC leader to skip the meet. The country will instead be represented by Khan's Special Assistant on Health, Zafar Mirza. As per the official data, Pakistan has confirmed over 30 COVID-19 cases. Imran Khan has told Pakistanis that his top priority is to contain the coronavirus outbreak. Yet he has not offered any explanation on why he is snubbing the crucial meet. Now, one will have to read between the lines. Is it because Islamabad cannot afford to offend its all-weather friend, China? Remember, Pakistan is the very country which refused to evacuate its citizens from the coronavirus epicenter of Wuhan in China. This even after New Delhi offered to help rescue the Pakistanis stuck there. Now, we are joined by our Pakistan Bureau Chief, Anas Malik, and Amir Shaheen, a senior journalist from Karachi. Good evening to you both. Good afternoon to you both. I will start with you, Anas. Coming in first, all the heads of state will be participating except Pakistan. What do we make of Imran Khan's absence from today's meeting? Is this petty politics in this time of a global pandemic?
Well, Alison, the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has decided to give this SAARC video conference meeting a miss, primarily because what the officials in Islamabad are maintaining is that Dr. Zafar Mirza is the best person. He is, because he is the technically most sound person as well. He is leading the fight against corona in Pakistan. He is the focal person and the national coordinator as well. Therefore, it is he is the much more appropriate authority or person to go to and speak about it, and therefore he has been nominated. Having said that, there seems to be commotion within the ranks of Islamabad admins, because on one end Islamabad says it is committed to the SAARC process. On the other end, when there is a political level meeting where we are seeing other 7 heads of states participating, then what is the point of a minister? Not sure what is his mandate, because he's a special advisor to the Pakistani Prime Minister. He's not even an elected member of the parliament, so who would be having a greater mandate or representation. So therefore, all eyes would be as to what Dr. Zafar Mirza has to offer today. What the Pakistani admins are saying, that they understand that this is a pandemic, and they would want to keep it. They would want to join the global efforts to fight this the corona outbreak, the pandemic, and that is the reason that they are quote unquote rising above differences. The differences remain, and rightly so, because we have seen Pakistan's position over the time, especially after the 5th of August, the bilateral relations being deteriorated between India and Pakistan has maintained that it would not be talking, but given this offer by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we have seen that it wouldn't be wrong to say that Pakistan was left checkmated. It was taken by a surprise, the move, because we have seen in the past, I'll take you back to last year at the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, when the SAARC informal ministerial meeting was held. The Pakistani Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi was jubilant and said that all quote unquote of the member countries had quote unquote agreed upon holding a SAARC summit, and we haven't seen any forward movement on that. So all eyes would be on what Dr. Zafar Mirza has to offer, and how much mandate would he be having in today's meeting. Would he be having the authority to take or to commit a political decision or not? That would be something to look out for. Yes, Alison.
Right, and now stay with us. I'll go to you now, Amir. Thank you for joining us. Now, this video teleconference has been hailed by global leaders as an important initiative to combat this global pandemic. What is Pakistan firstly expecting from this meet? And why will Pakistan be represented by a Special Assistant on Health, Zafar Mirza, as opposed to Imran Khan?
Taking forward your question that you asked my colleague from Pakistan, that why is Imran Khan doing it? Is he trying to snub India? I think this is not about India, and I actually think this might not be about Pakistan. It is about the current regime, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf regime in Pakistan. There had been widespread calls for the Prime Minister addressing the nation, or taking the nation into confidence regarding the coronavirus. But the regime was just not to be found, and it was the Sindh provincial government that started criticizing the inaction and the invisibility of anything happening. And it was the Sindh government that actually exposed the fact that even the people who were coming at the airports, they were not being screened. And the federal government, Imran Khan's Prime Minister's government, was just not replying on anything. The special assistant to the Prime Minister, Dr. Zafar Mirza, the person who is going to be representing Pakistan, is currently embroiled in a scandal of 20 million masks, the N95 masks being smuggled out of Pakistan. So that's the kind of things they are dealing with. And I think it might be a good thing that the Prime Minister Imran Khan is not participating in this discussion, because Prime Minister Imran Khan has not been the most competent of leaders. It could be because the idea apparently originated from India, so it could be in a way discouraging the Indians that if it's your idea, we're not playing ball. But I think it's more to do with the fact that the government is not interested in doing a lot. They're saying the rhetoric, they're saying the right things, they're saying it's a serious issue, we would like to cooperate with the whole global community and come to terms with what to do. But the people who should be in a position to take decisions are not the ones who are taking the nation in confidence, taking concrete steps, screening the airports and all of that, or representing us on international forums like the SAARC or other global forums.
Right, Samir, do you think that depending on the mandate then of Pakistan's representative, what will the impact of this be on the coordinated response in the region? Will this in some way take away from the containment and mitigation of this global pandemic?
I think it's very important to note that who is running the show in Pakistan. So it's not really Imran Khan or his government running the show. The players have good coordination with the international community, the ones who installed this government. So I think as far as the practical implications are concerned, there will be incompetence, as there has been. A lot of people who were even screened at the airports were allowed to go back, and it was the provincial government who had to chase them and quarantine them later on. So those kind of things are going to be happening. But of course, it's a very serious issue because nothing is isolated now. It's like we're all in a swimming pool, and we can't have a clean area. If somebody does something dirty in the pool, everybody gets affected. So that is for something for the whole community, the world community, to put pressure on every country, not just Pakistan, but every country, to make sure that they're not just agreeing in words, but they're agreeing in actions.
Amir, thank you. Anas, what do you make of Amir's comments there about this being about the regime in Pakistan, the government not really doing a lot, the lack of efforts being made by the government in terms of containing the epidemic?
Well, absolutely. As Emma rightly mentioned, there has been a lot of criticism. We have been reporting that as well. The government's inability to act or ineffectiveness to act, it was only after the Sindh government brought it to light. And then we saw a day earlier on Thursday when the military leadership met and they had quote unquote reviewed the situation on COVID-19. This is what the ISPR statement had said. Only a day later, we saw the National Security Committee meeting being held and Imran Khan presiding that meeting. So before Friday, we hadn't practically seen any such actions, but something that I have to take you through is stats. Until this past Monday, there were only 8 cases of coronavirus that were reported in Pakistan. Most of them, in fact, 100% of these cases were those who had brought the disease from abroad, precisely from Iran and Syria. Whereas in these past 5 days or 6 days, there have been at least 22 cases that have been brought to light. So that means that raised alarm bells for the government. In fact, just today, as we speak, there have been 2 confirmed cases that have been diagnosed. One, that of in Balochistan, and that is again at the Taftan border, and one that is in Islamabad, where I'm standing. It has been tested positive of a patient's husband who was already tested positive, and she continues to remain on the ventilator. She had recently returned. So the Sindh government had been right rightly pointing out that airports and borders are with the federal government, and had there been stringent measures and stringent regulations and effective screening measures that would have been taken, then the spread of COVID could have been curtailed to a greater extent. But for now, the federal government in Pakistan, the Imran Khan regime, they seem to be on a reactive approach rather than being on a proactive approach, and that is the reason we saw just 2 days ago, in fact this past Thursday, about 3 days ago to be precise, they had shifted a mobile lab, a corona testing mobile lab, to the Taftan border, which is currently housing more than 5,000 Pakistanis who are coming in from Iran despite of being quarantined. They're coming in to Pakistan and they're being quarantined again. So we have seen at least 8 cases emerging from that. Had those 8 cases been tested earlier and not on Thursday, then things could have been better. And as I said, the spread of the virus cannot be curtailed unless and until effective measures are taken. And that is the reason, as Emma rightly said so, that Imran Khan's government, their inability to deal with this epidemic is something that is going on to expose them, and their lack of professionalism and lack of sight to deal with this problem is the reason that is cause of the problem as well, by and large. Yes, Alison.
Thanks for the report. That's Anas Malik coming to us, our Pakistan Bureau Chief, and thank you to Amir Shaheen, our senior journalist, coming to us from Karachi. Thank you both for joining us.